Hello guys, welcome back to another Division 2 video. It's been some time since I've last uploaded a video, so I'm sorry, I've just been really busy lately. But since I have more free time, I'll have more videos out soon, so stay tuned for that. And if you've just joined the channel, welcome to the family. So I've noticed that a lot of players are avoiding the Dark Zone because they just don't know what build to run. Like, some of you guys just need a solid build to use before going in there. And if this is you, then you may find this video helpful. So we're going to be breaking down 3 highly viable and sturdy PVP DPS builds that you can use for the Dark Zone. These builds have amazing damage and great survivability, so they will work well for solo Dark Zone gameplay. So if you're looking for a build setup that you can rely on to help you stay alive, while being able to still put out great damage, then you just may favor at least one of these. Just keep in mind, however, that these builds are tailored to fit my playstyle, so you may need to swap out some gear pieces because you may have a completely different playstyle. So don't expect to enter the Dark Zone with these builds and start killing everyone and their mom, dad, and uncle. Because I won't lie to you, you're gonna need some skill, whether that be strafing, knowing what battles to pick, when to retreat, so on and so forth. But these builds will help, you just have to meet them halfway, so to speak. So, just consider your playstyle, and feel free to swap out any of the gear pieces, skills, or whatever you need to do to tailor this more toward how you like to play. So for example, you may not like using the unbreakable talent. Some players can't stand it, and it just doesn't make sense to them. And that's totally fine. So yeah, let's get started with the first build on this list. This first build is a hybrid build. It has high armor, great damage, and 4 skill tiers. And for the primary weapon, I'm using the Capacitor Exotic Assault Rifle. This weapon is perfect for this build since it's a hybrid build. The Capacitor hits extremely hard, and by having 4 skill tiers, you will get a 30% weapon damage bonus thanks to the talent Capacitance. And for those who don't know, the talent Capacitance will basically be giving you an increased 7.5% weapon damage for each skill tier you have. And having 132,000 total weapon damage with 2 million armor is insane. For the gear, I'm wearing 2 pieces of the steelwork brandset rolled with armor and crits. And one piece gives 10% armor on kill, 60% health for 2 pieces, and since I'm wearing the Ninja Bike exotic backpack, I get that 3rd bonus skill tier. And for those who don't know, that's because this exotic backpack serves as an additional piece, thanks to its talent Resourceful. So by having 1 piece Fenris, I get 10% assault rifle damage and 30% reload speed, rolled with maxed critical hit damage and chance. And for the talent, Unbreakable is great for added survivability, and it will basically heal 50% of your armor upon depletion in PvP. So, I'm not sure if any of you guys are familiar with the Nomad gear set on the Division 1, but that's pretty much the same functionality with the Unbreakable talent. But anyway, the Picaro's holster with crit hit damage and 15% weapon damage that comes with this named holster. And the Ninja bag will serve as that second piece, which will give another extra skill tier. 1 piece Walker Harris with 5% weapon damage and damage to armor, rolled with crit damage and chance. And for the steelwork gloves, 9.2% critical hit damage and 6% critical hit chance. For the stats, 54.5% critical hit chance and 142.3% critical hit damage on the capacitor. And for the skills, I recommend going with whatever you feel comfortable with, but I'm using the Artificer Hive with the decoy to extend my decoy duration because I like having the element of surprise. So consider your playstyle before deciding what skill you'd like to use. And for the weapon specialization, Technician is great because you will be getting an extra skill tier. Okay guys, this second build has been one of my personal favorites for Dark Zone PvP. What I love the most about this build is its high damage and survivability. This is a simple meta build with the perfect adrenaline rush and unbreakable talent, and it's fairly easy to set up because the pieces aren't that difficult to farm for. The only pieces that you may have trouble getting are the Catharsis mask and the named Matador backpack, but I'll give you some alternatives in just a second. For the primary weapon, the Shield Splinterer truly performs well and comes with the talent Perfect Optimist. And for the secondary weapon, I highly recommend using the Ouroboros if you have one. If not, then you can use any of the vectors or whatever you'd like. For the mask, the Catharsis mask with a 12% critical hit damage mod. The Catharsis mask will help with your damage out and survivability thanks to its talent Vicious Cycle. So it's a big benefit having this mask equipped. But a good alternative is 1 piece Grupo for an extra 15% critical hit damage. For the vest, one-piece Fenris Group AB for an additional 10% assault rifle damage, with max crits and a maxed critical hit damage mod. Next, the Picaro's holster, and Walker Harris knee pads with maxed crits, Cheska gloves with maxed crits, and a God-rolled Matador backpack from the RNG Heavens. For those of you who don't have the perfect Adrenaline Rush Matador bag, the regular Adrenaline Rush talent will work fine. There's only a 3% difference in the armor bonus you get, which isn't a big deal. For the stats, 54% critical hit chance and 141% critical hit damage on the shield splinterer. And for the Ouroboros, 60% crit hit chance and 151% critical hit damage. So for the weapon specialization, I recommend you use Firewall, and that's because you will be getting a nice 200% armor and health recovery for using an armor kit. This will help increase your survivability. And for the skills, the Defender drone works great and will help mitigate some incoming damage. For the secondary skill, I like to use the decoy because it fits my playstyle, but I notice some players like using the explosive Seeker Mine to stagger players, so just go with whatever you feel comfortable with. Okay, so this last build is a high damage DPS build, and if you enjoy using LMGs, I'm sure you will like this build. This build uses the Iron Lung Exotic LMG to deal heavy damage to players in PvP, and it absolutely shreds armor. The Iron Lung Exotic LMG is extremely powerful in PvP if you set up the right build. Not only does it have an insanely high RPM for its weapon class, but it also has a great amount of weapon damage as well. So for the gear pieces, I'm wearing 3 pieces of the Lengmo brandset for the 30% LMG damage. And for the gloves, I'm wearing the Contractor's gloves for not only the 10% LMG damage bonus, but for the 8% damage to armor as well. And since I like to play at a distance with this build for the most part, I'm wearing the Coyote mask for the bonus critical hit chance and damage increase that you get the further you are from the enemy. Last but not least, one-piece Cheska for an extra 10% critical hit chance, rolled with the talent Wicked. Vigilance is also another good talent to use on your backpack, but I prefer Wicked since I will be getting that 18% weapon damage increase every time I set an enemy on fire with the Iron Lung. And Vigilance actually has a major downside. You will lose that increased 25% damage you get from Vigilance for 4 seconds whenever you are hit. So I feel that Wicked is a better talent to use. For the attributes, 8.5% critical hit damage, 4% weapon handling, and a 12% critical hit damage mod. Weapon handling is a great attribute to have if you're using an LMG because it will improve your weapon's accuracy and stability. Also, if you wanted to, you could also use the Anarchist's Cookbook backpack. This is the named Golan backpack that comes with the perfectly Wicked talent, which extends the 18% weapon damage buff for 27 seconds, as opposed to 20 seconds from the normal Wicked talent. Plus, you will be getting a 10% status effect damage bonus, which will help with the burn status effect damage from the Iron Lung. And for those who don't know, the Iron Lung weapon talent, Ardent, basically heats up the weapon after firing for a period of time, filling up a heat meter. And once this meter is full, rounds shot by the weapon ignite enemies. This is why having the Wicked talent is beneficial because this will activate it and give you that 18% increased weapon damage. Okay, so for the Coyote mask, maxed critical hit damage and chance with a maxed critical hit damage mod. And for the Lengmo vest, 4.6% critical hit chance, 12% critical hit damage, and a 12% critical hit damage mod. For the skills, I'm using the Booster Hive and Decoy. The Booster Hive is great because it helps with reload speed and accuracy. And since this is an LMG, reloading will take a bit of time, so the Booster Hive only helps. But again, consider your playstyle and use whatever you feel suits you better. For the stats, 44.5% critical hit chance and 166.6% critical hit damage. I recommend going with the Firewall specialization for the 200% armor and health bonus you get from using an armor kit. Again, this helps big time with keeping you alive, and it's a go-to for a lot of PvP builds. So yeah, this is Prajna. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and if you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section and I'll get back at you as soon as I can. So hopefully these builds help you out in the Dark Zone. To all my subscribers, I love you guys so much, and if you're new to the channel, welcome and consider subscribing. Keep it cool, keep it classy, and see you in the next video. Peace out.